The Westin Ned Worm comes in 3 sizes, 7, 9 and 11 centimeter. They are made from a super tough TPR material that's extremely elastic. It's floating and has a little bit of salt inside to balance the lure. Normally a Ned lure lasts very long thanks to the TPR material because it's so tough. It can take a lot of abuse before it's broken. It can be a little bit tricky to rig your lures, but with a little bit of patience it's no problem. Rigging them just like you rig a normal soft plastic lure. And thanks to the floating ability of the lure, you can fish it standing on the bottom. That's the trick with the Ned worms. So when you're fishing it stands on the bottom like a feeding bait fish or something. The Westin Ned Worm comes in 3 sizes, as I said, 7, 9 and 11 centimeters, and several proven fish catching colors. You can also buy mix packs with a clear water mix and a dark water mix, depending on what kind of water you're fishing. So several separate colors or a mix pack is available. In my opinion, Ned fishing is something to use when the fishing is a little bit tricky. It can be a period when the perch are really difficult to catch, or it can be, for example, when it's really cold in the water. The traditional way to rig a Ned worm is to use a Ned head with a J hook, so the Ned worm is standing on the bottom. I have some other way of rigging it. When we're fishing here, there's a lot of weed, so we cannot really use a traditional J hook because it will be full with weed. So we're using a Ned head with an offset, a wide gape offset hook, so we can fish in the weed. But the principle is the same, it's standing on the bottom. I also like to fish the Ned head on a Cheburashka head. Then you get a joint between the weight and the lure. So you get a little bit more movement in the lure with a Cheburashka head. The third way is to use like almost like a small Texas rig. I have a bullet weight, and then I put rubber float stop so I can adjust the distance between the weight and the lure. And once again I separate the lure from the weight, and I get more movements in the lure. So this is also a good way of fishing a Ned bait. You can also rig a Ned worm and fish it Neko style with an O-ring and a nail weight in the end of the worm, and just let it jump across the bottom. Works fine also. But this way of rigging and fishing the Ned worm is the ones I prefer. A Ned worm is not a lure that makes a lot of noise and action in the water. It's a really gentle style of fishing. When the perch want that style of lure, it can be super efficient. But it's more when the perch are really slow, really difficult to attract with a normal paddle tail or something else. You should try a Ned worm. Or when it's really cold in the water, so they're very slow and don't want the lure with a lot of vibration and a lot of action. That's when the Ned worm comes to its best use. Check them out at westinfishing.com.